Kirk at Utah Valley University last September. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details about newly unsealed search warrants.
The big thing we found in these warrants is the text of a letter investigators say Robinson left for his romantic partner and roommate before he allegedly left for UVU. According to the documents obtained by KSL, a portion of that letter reads, quote, "I am likely dead or facing a lengthy prison sentence. I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I took it," end quote. The letter goes on to say, quote, "I wish we could have lived in a world where this did not feel necessary."
Robinson has been charged with capital murder. He'll be back in court in 1 week. Salt Lake City may indefinitely close several sections of road on the west side while they continue to deal with ongoing problems. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
Manos Amigas Utah works with families who have been impacted by ICE arrests. They hold food drives, write family preparedness plans, and tell the Salt Lake Tribune they help facilitate communication with those already in detention. The help couldn't come at a better time when arrests have skyrocketed. Data from the Deportation Data Project shows between 2024 and 2025, ICE arrests in southwest Utah have gone up by 550%. ICE officers have been able to gain support from local police, including Washington County, where agreements give the department access to beds at a correctional facility, and over a dozen officers and detectives are certified to help in arrests. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Let's get a look at your money at this moment. Right now, the Dow is down 150 points. We're at 48,034. Coming up, we've got a rainy weekend in store. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
On top of home and auto, Progressive protects your boat, RV, and motorcycle so you can explore the unknown.
Actually, we just take the RV to the same campground every year.
Well, maybe you can catch your own dinner on your boat.
Oh, we can actually get pizza delivered there from this brick oven place we love.
Will you at least try a new topping?
Honestly, probably not. We kind of have a go-to order.
Fine. Just bundle home or auto insurance with your outdoor vehicles with Progressive and stay protected when you go, I guess, where you've gone before. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-290-7100. That's 800-290-7100.
Most financial advisors only manage your money. They refer you out for taxes. They refer you out for estate planning. They refer you out when things get complicated. Did they really vet that person? Or did they meet once, exchange business cards, and call it a partnership? A referral isn't accountability. It's a handoff. When your investments, taxes, and estate plan are built separately, gaps happen, and those can cost money. At Trajan, we didn't build a referral network. We built a family office for all. Wealth, tax, estate. One team delivering coordinated planning, once reserved for the ultra-wealthy. If you want real coordination and not just introductions, call Trajan Wealth today.
Call Trajan today at 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900. 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
Hi everyone, it's Congressman Blake Moore here. Representing Utah's priorities in Congress and providing top-notch constituent service is at the heart of everything Team Moore does. We've had great success helping Utahns with expedited passports, visa processing, veterans benefits, immigration petitions, retirement issues, tax returns, and much more. If you need help navigating a federal agency, including the IRS, Social Security, the VA, Immigration Services, or Medicare, please give my office a call at 801-625-0107. That's 801-625-0107. We're also happy to help coordinate any U.S. Capitol tours, take your comments, and provide legislative updates at any time. I also want to invite you to sign up for my weekly e-newsletter. This is our most popular form of communication with constituents, and each week I share a personal takeaway, legislative updates, recent meetings, a member spotlight, upcoming events, and much more. Sign up today at blakemore.house.gov. It is an honor to serve you and your family in Congress. Thank you. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. And here's Cormac Bone.
roadways have really calmed down all across the Wasatch Front after the morning commute. We do still see a little bit of congestion eastbound on Little Cottonwood Road as you approach the mouth of Little Cottonwood Canyon, and there is still some congestion on Highway 89 in South Ogden at Harrison Boulevard and Skyline Drive, both directions there. And in Lehigh, still seeing those construction delays on 2100 North scattered in both directions from about 2300 West now over to I-15. But on I-15, you shouldn't see any delays between Ogden and Provo. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're going to see the warmest temperatures of the week today with a high of 76, and then we drop to 70 tomorrow with a chance of rain, into the 60s and even 50s with a good chance of rain Sunday and Monday. Right now it's 63 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Quote, Tyler killed Charlie, unquote. Those 4 words headline newly unsealed court records that detail what investigators say the accused gunman and others close to him said and wrote after the deadly shooting of Charlie Kirk at UVU. We're also learning that there's DNA evidence that was found near the location that Charlie Kirk was killed, and we're going to talk about that, but I'm going to ask Greg. Let's start with the messages. What's up with that?
So what happened was the Utah County Attorney's Office has, as they're required to do, Holly, released the information that they found when they served search warrants on Tyler Robinson's social media, his computer, his phone, and his friends' computers and phone. And as they did that, they disclosed conversations that he had with his roommate, one of which was really telling because he told his roommate this. He goes, Luna is the name that he used for his roommate. If you are reading this per my text, so he'd sent the roommate a text saying, you go find my letter. Mm-hmm. Now, this letter was written ostensibly, if you read it, before the homicide, the alleged homicide. He hadn't done anything yet. He says, I left the house this morning on a mission, and I sent an auto text. I am likely dead or facing a lengthy prison sentence when you read this, so to speak. I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I took it. And then he says this, I don't know if I will have succeeded, but I had hoped to make it home to you. I wish we could have enjoyed a world together where this did not seem necessary. But he talks about how he felt like this was a necessary thing. So this is really damning evidence for the Tyler Robinson defense team. Certainly very helpful to the state, but not that they needed it. I mean, he's presumed innocent by all accounts, but it looks like the state's case gets stronger as you start learning more and more about the investigation.
Well, let me ask you a fundamental question. About releasing the information in these search warrants. Why now? What's the timing here?
So the good news, bad news, the state doesn't necessarily want this information released to the public because they're trying to keep things close to the vest so that they can get a jury that's not tainted by this, and the defense doesn't want it either. But the public has a right to know. And so when a warrant is sealed, it can only be sealed for so long. Mm-hmm. And I think that the so long has passed in this case. One thing that's important, Holly, is that when Jeff Gray, the Utah County Attorney's Office, announced the charges, he read a probable cause statement, which was incredibly long, and it contained some of this information. So a lot of what we're reading, even though it was from an unsealed search warrant, we knew about before, or at least the county attorney's office knew about it. So we had that information. I don't know that there's a lot we learned new. There are some things. We'll talk about those in a minute. But a lot of this information in terms of the texts and the conversations between Tyler Robinson and his roommate, we had heard before in the probable cause statement.
And the roommate was a romantic partner, too, I think we learned. But this one stood out to me. I don't remember hearing him say this. There was a message on Discord because he had messaged his friends there as well. And one of the people on Discord said, Tyler killed Charlie.
Right, yeah.
That was new to me.
Yeah, right. That's very new. And that's something that their group had. And he sent a message to the group saying, hey, guys, I have some bad news for you. It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all this. I'm surrendering through a sheriff here in a few minutes. Thanks for all the good times and laughs. You've been amazing. Thank you all for everything. So he had allegedly committed the act by then and was reaching out to his friends, kind of saying goodbye. And if you read the one that he'd sent to his roommate, who goes by the name of Luna, it was almost like I may be dead by the time you read this, because what's about to happen could be really consequential.
Yeah, sure. Do we know who posted that on Discord the Tyler killed Charlie statement. Do we know that?
We don't. The county attorneys and the law enforcement they haven't posted that yet, but it was posted in a site that several people would have seen. So there may be several sources for that, including the search warrants that we talked about that were unsealed. They may have been part of something was found there.
Could that person testify? Is that maybe one reason we don't know their identity at this point?
They probably wouldn't keep that a secret at this point if they had that information, and they could testify that they received that. But what's important is that Tyler Robinson sent it, and so whoever received it, if it's a matter of whether Tyler sent it, and if that's an admission of guilt either before or after the homicide took place.
What do we know about DNA evidence? Because I'm not sure that I knew about that either.
Now that's new, and I think that's something that we didn't know a lot about. So what I'm reading and sort of reading between the lines here is that at the scene, if you recall, the shooter climbed up on top of a building there at UVU, and there was some tape or something at the scene, and on that had some fingerprints, and they were able to lift some DNA off of that, which would probably have come back to Tyler Robinson. We don't have the end result of that, but they did get DNA and they did get fingerprints. I'm assuming they wouldn't have even mentioned that unless they were incriminating for Tyler Robinson.
So how does this broadly impact the case? I mean, you mentioned the jury pool, but is there any other impacts that unsealing these search warrants will have?
I think it has an impact on the defense because while they may have known most of this, they certainly know now that the state has a pretty compelling case. And it may be time to sit down and talk about ways of resolving this case, if there are any. But the state has to disclose everything they have that either hurts or helps the defendant. They absolutely have to do that. The defense says there's no reciprocal discovery. The defense doesn't have to disclose anything yet. They may at some point. But the state has the burden of proof. The state has to prove their case. The defense doesn't have to prove anything. So the state has, some states call it an open file policy, which is basically whatever we have, you're going to get. And even with a search warrant, even search warrants that are under seal, like I said at the outset, they can only be under seal for a certain period of time. And then the public has a right to know, so they have to be disclosed. And that's what's going on here. We're learning more and more about the case. We may learn more later because there were no doubt other search warrants that were filed and executed during that time. And we may start getting more of those as they start becoming ripe for disclosure.
Interesting. I also saw a story that said that Erica Kirk has hired an attorney, and she's the spouse, of course, of Charlie Kirk, the widow. Why would she hire an attorney?
You know, I think it happens more often than you think where victims and their families will hire an attorney. Utah has what we call a Victim's Bill of Rights, which means, and most states follow the same thing, the victim has a right to counsel. They have a right to be part of the process. And it makes more sense if you do it through a lawyer instead of Erica Kirk saying, I want to be advised of everything and I want input. She might just say, look, I've got my own thing going. I want an attorney to be present for it. I'm going to hire an attorney. He or she is going to stand in for me. Send pleadings to them, send things to them. Then as she gets involved in, let's say, the plea bargaining process or the sentencing process, or let's say she's going to testify at the trial in some capacity, the attorney can run interference for her and make sure that she's advised of everything that's going on so she doesn't have to worry about it. We do that a lot for victims in Utah. And in fact, you might recall, I did that for the Eric Richins family in the recent trial that happened up in Park City. So I wasn't their attorney, I was their representative, which is the same thing really in this particular case because she doesn't really need an attorney.
Does it matter at all that this attorney is from Florida?
It does. So he can't appear in Utah, but he found local counsel which will sort of sponsor him. So he will appear in Utah under the license of the Utah local attorney.
Well, that's great information. Thanks for helping with that. Okay, we also learned this morning that the big spike in gas prices has, not surprisingly, caused a big spike in inflation in March. So we're going to talk with Zions Bank senior economist Robert Spendlove when we come back.
The weather is about to warm up. That means lawn care. Wouldn't you love a greener, healthier lawn without the hassle? Utah's tough climate doesn't make it easy, but J&J Garden Center has the answer to make it simple. So simple, you can do it yourself. The 5-step lawn care program at J&J Garden Center with Basin's Best Fertilizer is designed just for Utah's unique climate, giving you a thicker, stronger, weed-free lawn all season long. It's easy to apply, affordable, and covers up to 10,000 square feet. Just follow the simple 5-step plan. And let Basin's Best Fertilizer do the rest and take the guesswork out of your lawn care. DIY and save big. No expensive lawn services needed. Get started today at J&J Garden Center and watch your lawn turn green with envy. Visit J&J Garden Center in Layton and get growing today. Just take the Layton Parkway exit to Main Street and head west on Gentile. J&J Garden Center. Country grown to your home.
It's the time of year when so many wonderful things are happening. First of all, we've got Mother's Day just around the corner. We also have a lot of engagement activities, even some early spring weddings. And of course, we have graduations and so much more. It's time to make your reservations at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Either location, right in the heart of downtown Salt Lake City. If you're going to be up in the mountains, they're right there, Hotel Park City, with the very best meal you have ever had. It awaits you at either locations. Now, of course, I love to talk about the steaks. The ribeye is my absolute favorite. Each and every steak is cooked to perfection. But of course, there are other wonderful entrees as well, whether it be seafood or poultry or a specialty dish. It is time. Make your reservations for those special occasions that are just around the corner at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, heart of downtown Salt Lake City or Hotel Park City.
I'm Congressman Mike Kennedy. For years, Utah families have paid too much for health care, groceries, and everyday essentials. I'm fighting for health care reform that puts patients first and lowers costs. I'm also working to cut waste, fraud, and abuse in Washington because your tax dollars should be spent wisely. Fiscal responsibility means lower costs and a government that works for you. I'm Mike Kennedy, and I'll keep fighting for Utah families. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Hey, Mammoth fans, the 2026-27 season tickets are on sale now. Be there for every goal, every hit, and every moment of the next season. Season ticket members get the best seats, the best value, and exclusive perks all season long. Call or text 801-325-PUCK. That's 801-325-PUCK to reserve your seats today. Don't miss a moment next season. Tusk's up.
All in together now, we can make it better, can we do it? We'll rope it up, cause we know how to jump.
Moving and eating better every day can help make you and your kids healthier. Search We Can online to find out more. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8157. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-8157. That's 800-575-8157. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Everything to my back is dark.
High in the alpine wilderness.
Really ugly clouds coming over from the north.
A place
the ridgeline is imposing, the escarpments, the drops.
where survival,
It's dark now. I have nothing.
is never certain.
This is not good.
My name's Dave Cawley, and I'm the host of a podcast called Uinta Triangle. It's about the disappearance of an Australian hiker named Eric.
Our conclusion and that of the sheriff is that the mountains have decided to keep him.
Come retrace Eric's footprints with me.
You have done this walk too, but this is your backyard.
Did he really make a wrong turn, or did he decide that he was done?
He is not the first or last person to vanish in this remote region.
It was haunting to see the photos. I mean, really.
Find and follow the podcast series Uinta Triangle. That's Uinta, spelled U-I-N-T-A, Triangle, wherever you get your podcasts. All episodes out now.
Inside Sources.
Well, the Department of Labor has announced its inflation numbers for the month of March, and they're jumped higher than they have in 4 years, Holly. They jumped 3.3% on an annual percentage rate for March. That's up from 2.4%, which was the rate in February, and up from, I think, and our next guest can help us, from the number they try to keep it, which is maybe a little bit less than 2%. But this is the Consumer Price Index. A lot of it is blamed on soaring gas prices, but inflation rose.
Prices are up.
Yeah, prices are up.
We have with us senior economist with Zions Bank. It's Robert Spendlove. Thanks for joining us, Robert.
It's great to be with you.
What do these numbers tell us this morning?
Well, just like you said, a big part of this is a story about energy prices, gas prices. This is an example of a classic price shock where, going into this report, so last month was before the war with Iran began, but now this is starting to reflect those aggressions. It's starting to reflect the shutdown of the Strait of Hormuz, and reflect this much higher impact of higher oil prices and higher gas prices.
And there are a few other things such as fertilizer and such, but it's hard to imagine, or maybe it's not, but you can maybe explain why oil and gas alone, and maybe not strictly alone, have made such a difference in these numbers.
Yeah, and this is this is why everyone hates economists. This is fascinating to me. For everyone else, it's like this is maddening, but you can really see where. So if you look at the headline CPI, it went from 2.4% increase the prior month to 3.3%. So that's a big jump in that overall consumer price index. But when you look at core CPI, so when you strip out food and fuel, the increase is much lower, goes from 2.5% to 2.6%. And on a month-over-month basis, it's essentially flat. So that's where it is specifically an energy price increase right now and an oil price increase. And so before the war began, oil was around $60 a barrel. It got as high as about $115 a barrel. Even today, it's at $90 a barrel. So it's down from where it was, but it's still up about 50% in the last year. Gas prices before the war were $3 a gallon. Now they're around $4 a gallon. And in this report, it reflects gas being about $3.84. So even right there, that's about a 25% increase, and it's not incorporating what we're seeing right now. Now, the question is, when did these direct impacts start to leach into other parts of the economy and start to have impact on other areas?
So I'm going to make a guess here that the ongoing conflict there and the ongoing high prices of gas, it's going to maybe not look so good for April's numbers either.
Yep, and that's the big concern. So, even if we were to fully reopen the Strait of Hormuz, it would take time to kind of even out. It would take time to get those prices back down. So we think that they would settle back to around $70 to $80 a barrel if everything was totally fixed. But you think that there's destruction in the Strait, there's destruction in Iran, there's a destruction of a lot of these resources. So it will take some time for that to get back in a best case scenario. And then at what point does this short-term shock start to bleed into other parts of the economy? I'll tell you that the economy has been really resilient. Consumers have been resilient, but we've seen a number of these shocks hit us year after year. So remember, the first one was the pandemic. Next one, the war with Russia and Ukraine. Next one after that was the tariffs a year ago. And now we've got the war with Iran. And so on one side, you see that the broader economy, broader inflation has been resilient, but we have to continue to deal with these successive shocks that are kind of stressing the consumer.
Robert, this might seem like a dumb question, but is there a chance of a rebound shock? That is to say, the strait gets open, oil gets pumped through there, they get their infrastructure back in place, oil prices go down, and we in fact see a reduction or a deflation instead of inflation, if that's the right word?
No, it's a great point, and that certainly could happen. In fact, that's what happened with the war with Russia and Ukraine. There was a lot of fear that we would see a spike in oil prices, a spike in gas prices when Russia invaded Ukraine. It didn't happen. So we didn't see that spike. And what was happening is, so this is a supply shock, But there's also, remember, with your classic Econ 101, there's supply and demand. And so demand has been slow enough that we didn't see this long-term price spike from the aggression. So that could happen if we can kind of work out the specific short-term period right now. That reduction in demand could help keep those prices down. Also, the world economy is less dependent on oil and gas than it was in the past. We've got good alternatives. We've got electricity. We've got clean fuels that are much more impactful than in past cycles. And so that is a possible scenario. And that's, by the way, why the Federal Reserve is just kind of taking a wait-and-see approach right now before overly responding to these shocks.
I have maybe a tangential question, Robert, and that is, would all of this conflict in the Iran and the Strait of Hormuz, do you think that might reset a look at alternative energy sources? Because it feels like the White House for a long time has really just been pushing fossil fuels. Do you think we might see a reset to all of the above?
I think it could. I really do. We're so dependent on this energy source. And it is usually a reliable and relatively inexpensive source. And so it all depends on how long this conflict goes, how long the prices are higher. But I think it would take a much longer period of much higher oil and gas prices before the public starts to transition away from that source. And, this is what we've experienced over the last 10 or 20 years, is that the government was pushing this transition, was pushing consumers to move over. And honestly, consumers weren't ready yet. And I don't know that consumers are ready even now. It needs to be a more prolonged impact for consumers to start to move their demand patterns.
Robert, the Supreme Court not long ago struck down a lot of Trump's tariffs. Now, he's reinstated some, but did we see any reflection of that in the consumer price index after we did away with tariffs in some respect?
No, great question. In fact, that was one of the brightest points about this report, is if it were not for the oil shock, the energy shock, the rest of the inflation report, the rest of the CPI report was actually really good. Food prices were flat. Core good prices were flat. Used car prices were down. Shelter or housing is a little higher than we'd like it to be, but it is slowing. And so pretty much all the other parts of the inflation report were showing really good signs. And it's showing that, yes, we had that impact of the tariffs, but the economy has been resilient and people have been working through that. And so the hope is that if we can resolve the war with Iran, we can kind of get back to the returning to normal on overall inflation and prices.
What's a good number? I mean, probably zero is great, but what's a good number that the Department of Labor typically aims for? Is it in the 2% range for inflation annually?
Yep, that's exactly right. And by the way, zero is not great. You think it is, but yeah, their target is 2%, because what you don't want inflation too high. You don't, a few years ago when it was at 9%, it was way too high, way too problematic. But you also don't want deflation. You don't want prices dropping. And remember, the last time we saw prices dropping was when the housing market was collapsing in 2009 and 10. So what you want is stable and relatively low inflation. So right around that 2% level. And that's the Fed's target, is to get inflation at that 2%. So even right now, we're higher than that. We're higher than we want to be at 3.3. But the Fed will take the time and take the effort to really get it down to that level where we want it, 2%.
Thank you, Robert. That was Robert Spendlove, senior economist for Zions Bank, and only an economist, Holly, could say we don't want prices dropping.
Right.
It does make sense when Robert explains it, however. Well, 2034 might seem far away for the Salt Lake Olympic planners, but actually it's just around the corner. We're going to get an update on what they're working on this year. Plus, Michael Phelps was in town and spoke about things that Utah might want to start thinking about when we come back.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, it's official. Playoff hockey is coming to Salt Lake City for the very first time. The Utah Mammoth have clinched their first playoff spot since the franchise moved to Utah, thanks in large part to their dominating win over Nashville last night. The captain, Clayton Keller, played a big role with 3 assists in the win.
Keller again. Here he comes. Keller across. They score! Oh my! The magician! Clayton Keller on the setup for Dylan Gunther.
That audio courtesy of SCG Media. The Mammoth are still waiting to learn for sure who they'll play in the first round. The playoffs start a week from tomorrow. Salt Lake City may indefinitely close several sections of road on their west side while they continue to deal with ongoing problems. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has the story.
The city says closing the 200 South Bend into Montgomery Street would allow them to extend a quiet zone into more areas on the west side, a problem that has come up several times since 2024 when more train horns were added from the Ogden to Provo route. Another section of road on 7200 West from California Avenue to 152 South could be closed indefinitely because there has been too much illegal dumping. The street was closed in 2024 for a large-scale cleanup, but city leaders tell KSL the problem has continued. The road would still be open to emergency vehicles and some companies. The City Council will discuss this issue in their May and June meetings. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 145. Right now, we're at 48,041. Coming up, we'll start off next week with some rain. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry is the jewelry we never wear. It sits tucked away in a drawer. A ring from a grandmother, a pendant from years gone by. Pieces filled with stories, but not part of your everyday life. Duke's Jewelers believes those pieces deserve more. For over 75 years, Duke's Jewelers has helped families reimagine heirloom jewelry, transforming what once was into something you'll love wearing today and pass down tomorrow. Whether it's resetting a stone, redesigning a ring, or creating something entirely new, Duke's Jewelers will guide you through every step, right there in the store. And if you have jewelry that no longer fits your story, Duke's Jewelers also buys gold, offering a simple, transparent way to turn it into something meaningful again. Bring in what you have and create something you'll never want to take off. Duke's Jewelers on Main Street in Springville, where your story continues.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you want to walk, play pickleball, and enjoy other fun activities to stay healthy, but you can't because of bad feet? Hi, this is Mike, and the Good Feet store wants to help.
I just had difficulty walking. I tried them on in the store, and my foot felt so much better.
Do you keep buying new shoes and inserts with little or no relief?
I tried all kinds of shoes. It was the arch supports that made the difference from the Good Feet store.
Don't let bad feet, knees, or back problems get in the way of staying healthy and having fun.
Thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm bowling 3 nights a week.
Get back to doing what you love. At the Good Feet store, we'll personally fit you at high-quality arch supports to maximize your comfort. Stop in the Good Feet store or book your free fitting at goodfeet.com. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. And back to you, Cormac.
We don't have any delays on I-15 between Ogden and Provo, but we do have a crash on northbound I-15 at the point of the mountain. They're blocking a right shoulder, and again, no delays behind them. Where we do have delays, that's northbound Mountain View corridor approaching 4100 South and West Valley. I'm watching that left lane coming to a stop. There may be something out there, but the cams aren't turned right to see it. Otherwise, roadways looking really good across the Wasatch Front. Commons Replenish Landscape Garden Products provides the highest quality compost and soil blends for your lawns and gardens. Start your season right with Replenish. Visit replenishcompost.com. Replenish, it's good stuff. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Cloudy and warm today. We'll get up to 76 degrees, just 70 tomorrow with a chance of rain late. Good chance on Sunday, and pretty much we're all going to see some rain on Monday with a high of only 55. Right now it's 63 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
2034 might seem far away, but for Salt Lake City Olympic planners, it's just around the corner. They're already hard at work. But before we get into this conversation, we have a little bit. Happy birthday to Sarah Weaver, editor of the Deseret News. Thanks for joining us in studio, Sarah. I did have ulterior motives for asking you to come in today.
Well, that was an unexpected surprise. How sweet of you to recognize my birthday.
Anyway, okay, so let's start the conversation really about the Olympics, because I think there's so much that happens that we just stay unaware of. What are the Olympic planners for Salt Lake City 2034 doing this year in 2026?
So on Tuesday, the steering committee for Utah's games had a virtual meeting, and they sort of laid out a plan for this year as they prepare for Utah's to host the 2034 games. And they said, yes, we're going to continue to raise money. They always need to raise money. They're going to finalize their plans, and then they're going to start reaching out to Utahns statewide, including in a really fun pilot program that will teach Olympic values and hopefully encourage sport to school children throughout the state.
You know, we just got out of the Olympics, the Winter Olympics. Were they in Italy? I don't recall. And
yes.
So and we're
it was so long ago,
there's
like
another,
2 months.
Yeah, there's another intervening games before the 2034, but it's never too early to start thinking about it. And we also think, Sarah, about the fact that we hosted it only 24 years ago.
Only.
So a lot of our infrastructure is there in terms of the events, but there's a lot more that has to be done in terms of the community support and whatnot.
Yeah, and so I represented the Deseret News as part of the media at the Milan Games in February. During that time that I was in Milan, I heard the IOC talk to Utah organizers, and it was so interesting because their advice to them was, don't go too quickly.
Interesting.
You guys are so organized, you have the infrastructure, you have the venues, you actually have good donors, you have a plan, and so kind of slow down. And so I think everyone with that advice in mind, knowing that Olympic cities can't start fundraising in earnest until a few years before the games. So the Utah Games people can't start truly selling merchandise and stuff until after the LA Games, because they don't want to compete for sponsors or for dollars. And so we'll see the full push of these games start in probably 2029.
So the LA Games, those are Summer Olympics. I actually would have thought that they had to wait until the next Winter Olympics was through, but that's not the case.
No. So our next Olympics are the Summer Olympics in LA, and then we'll have another Olympics in the French Alps, And that will be the big Winter Olympics before Salt Lake gets to host the next games in 34.
That's really good information. Also, I saw a story that Michael Phelps, who is, I think, maybe one of the most famous Olympians, at least recently, he was in Salt Lake. What was he doing here?
Well, and Michael Phelps, he is the most decorated Olympian, certainly of all time. He's won 28 medals over several summer games. He was in Athens and Beijing and London and Rio, and he also went to Sydney. So you think of someone who's competed at the level he competed, winning so many events, over 5 Olympic Games, and yet he was in Utah. He visited the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and actually talked about post-Olympic depression.
Oh.
And so I think that is a new age where we're actually able to talk about the mental health effects of competing at such a high level on athletes themselves.
Yeah, and I think that we've seen that a lot, especially, Sarah, with the young people who are trained, like the figure skaters and the skiers, and they engage in it so much that it becomes almost like a lifetime obsession, and then it's over, and it's everything they've lived for at some point. And Michael Phelps is a perfect example, because he would get to that high level, and then he'd get the awards, and then he'd forget about it for a couple of years. Then he seemed to go into a funk a little bit, and then he would come back and do it again. But at some point, you're just too old to engage in it anymore.
He said finishing an Olympic Games, he once told NBC Sports that finishing an Olympic Games is sort of like standing on the edge of a cliff and saying, okay, now what?
Right.
That was a great experience. Now what? And I think that happens all the time. There is so much energy, so much commitment to perform at that high level that when it's over, you just wonder, okay, now what?
And they're still so young, these athletes.
Some of them are, yeah.
Right.
So let me just say this. So I know that it's not just Olympic athletes who suffer that post-achievement letdown. And it in fact, it's something I've written about for the Deseret News. It's been a little while. But a lot of people can do that if they have a big goal, even, for example, planning a wedding, and then you get married, and then you kind of have this post-achievement letdown, right? It's like, oh, well, now what do I do with my time? Same with me when I got my PhD. It was like focus. Okay, I'm done. Well, now what do I do with my time, right? That's pretty normal. I'm really glad that he was willing to have that kind of conversation.
Well, yeah, and we're actually seeing these kind of conversations play out in a lot of ways, including this week with Lindsey Vonn, who in Milan had this tragic, horrific accident on the ski slopes, was in the midst of making a very historic comeback at the age of 41, and then in an instant that's taken from her. And this week she did an interview with the Today Show, and she told NBC, I don't know what's next for me. I haven't ruled out to try and have another comeback. Now, she's in the middle of very, very intense recovery. That injury almost cost her leg.
Mm-hmm.
And so, who knows what that looks like. But there is something about the mental capacity of Olympic athletes who can perform at that level.
Do you think this community, the overall Wasatch Front community where the Olympic Games are going to be hosted, Sarah, in 8 years is gearing up for it, is going to be geared up for it? Because, I mean, we had let's face it, a bad year for snow, although we could have held the games here, I think, just for what I saw. But
in the mud.
No, it was great, and most resorts were in good shape. But do you think the community's ready for this or excited about it? I am.
Well, I know that Brad Wilson, the CEO of the organizing committee, says not to worry about snow. He said they have a plan to store snow. They had a similar plan when the Olympics were here before. They're going to make sure that they have enough snow to pull off the games. And they're also working very hard to engage every corner of the state to get excited for the games. And so they're going out into both urban and rural Utah to say, how can you participate in the games? How can you prepare for the games? How can you be a part of the games? During the games in Milan, they announced that Utah will have some tickets for $34 in 2034,
nice.
so that those games are more accessible to people. And then this effort to launch a pilot program, they're going to go into 6 schools across the state and actually talk to kids about the benefit of being involved in sport and some of these Olympic values that we all care so much about.
All right. Thank you so much, Sarah Weaver. Have a very happy birthday
That's
today.
great. Yes.
Editor of the Deseret News, by the way.
Thank you so much for those birthday wishes.
Greg and I are both wearing blue today, by the way, and there's a reason, because it's a day to recognize National Child Sexual Abuse Prevention Month. So stay with us for a conversation with Prevent Child Abuse Utah when we come back.
Doug Wright here with Monty at Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer. Monty, give it to me straight. Why is Connecticut the premium choice over those standard electric softeners?
Doug, it comes down to this. Do you want an appliance you have to babysit? Standard water softeners have microprocessors and computers that need setting and adjustment. And they use a lot more salt. So you get to haul 40-pound bags of salt down to your basement every month or so.
And Connecticut?
Zero electricity, 0 timers to reset, 0 downtime, and uses 70% less salt. It's a higher standard of engineering that completely removes the hassle of owning a water softener.
That's what I love about my Connecticut. Dee and I never have to even think about it. We occasionally add a bag of salt and it just works, and I've never had to set or adjust anything. Do what I did and get the one that just works. Find out how soft your water could be at softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
Help DEA keep our communities safe and healthy by participating in National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, Saturday, April 25th. Take action right in your own home by cleaning out your medicine cabinet of unneeded medications. Keep them safe, clean them out, take them back. Find a collection site near you at DEATakeback.com. Do your part to lower overdose deaths and prevent prescription drug misuse before it starts. That's DEATakeback.com.
Progressive knows you think the grass is always greener, like maybe you ride a motorcycle. But today, it's raining. So you wish you had an RV, but if you did, you'd have to listen to some guy parked next to it at a campsite plays acoustic guitar. Now, before you start wishing you had a boat, remember, your brother-in-law would invite himself every weekend.
Permission to come aboard, Captain?
But one thing that is greener is the money you could save when you bundle your RV, boat, or motorcycle with your home or auto with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Does your home have peeling paint or faded colors? Don't procrastinate. You need to protect your home with quality paint and a worry-free process, so make an appointment with CertaPro Painters. You quickly get a free estimate that's detailed, easy to understand, and then their trusted local professionals will bring fresh color to your home with quality craftsmanship at the right price. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. CertaPro.com.
I'm Christian Staples with Arctic Spas. Wellness starts at home. At Arctic Spas, we have what you need for home wellness. Hot tubs provide physical and mental relaxation, improve circulation, and stimulate better sleep, all while giving the perfect time to connect with loved ones. Swim spas and all-weather pools provide at-home, low-impact exercise, a break from gravity, and family fun. Cold tubs provide muscle recovery, reduce soreness, and provide the best mental boost. Saunas help you recover, detox, and improve your cardiovascular health. This can all be done at your home, ready whenever you are, and you can find it all at Arctic Spas. We are here to help you relax, exercise, and recover. We make it easy for you. You can find out more at ArcticSpasUtah.com or stop by one of our 3 stores covering all of Utah in Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George. Arctic Spa, the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate.
If you've ever wondered how to create predictable income for your retirement, and further how to make it tax-free, we invite you to join us for the Tax-Free Retirement Show, Saturday afternoons at 5, and also to learn about the Retirement Income Maximization Strategy, or RIMS report. You can learn more at rimsreport.com. That's RIMS report.com. Or join us Saturday afternoons at 5 for the Tax-Free Retirement Show.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel neglected or unloved? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
And expanded Inside Sources.
Well, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and April 10th is today, and it is Wear Blue Day. You told me to wear blue.
I did.
I wasn't quite sure why, but I did, because when Holly tells me to do something, I just do it.
That is smart.
I learned.
So, we have on the line with us Sarah Nita. She's the Director of Education and Development with Prevent Child Abuse Utah. Thanks for joining us, Sarah.
Hi, thank you, and thank you for wearing blue today.
So, can you tell our listeners? Greg just kind of set it up, but what is Wear Blue Day, and why? Why do you want people to wear blue today?
Great. Well, Wear Blue Day is part of April's celebration of National Child Abuse Prevention Month. And Wear Blue Day is that day where we all wear blue to bring awareness and hope to parents and caregivers, families, and the community in knowing that child abuse is not inevitable. It is preventable.
I have a follow-up question with that because I was talking with one of the other people that works here before we started our show, and they said, can you actually prevent it? How do you do that?
You know what? That is why I just said that line, because research has found that people think that child abuse is too big of a problem to solve, and it actually is very simple. There are some complicated systems in place that make it feel like it's too hard to solve, but really child abuse prevention comes down to education and strengthening families. 9 out of 10 times a child is abused by someone they know and trust. So my question to you, Holly and Greg, is were you ever trained in child abuse prevention?
No.
I have been as a
awareness
part of my career, as you might expect, Sarah, and I appreciate, because I was a special victims prosecutor for years at the district attorney's office and have served with the Utah Crime Victims Legal Clinic. I have to say that organizations like yours have brought attention to this and education to this in ways that we should have done years ago, and so I have to hand it to you. But what is your message for people that need to understand more about that?
Yeah, so we have a lot of resources on our website if you go to pcautah.org, including a online course that takes under an hour to complete, that goes through all the different types of child abuse: physical, emotional, sexual abuse, trafficking, and neglect. And one of the things that people don't realize that here in the state of Utah, the highest incident rate of child abuse is neglect. It's childhood neglect. It's also the one type of child abuse that the community can actually help and intervene without involving law enforcement. If people notice that people are struggling, then people can directly help. Now, we also say, too, if you do suspect or witness any child abuse here in the state of Utah, everyone over the age of 18 is considered a mandated reporter. And so if you suspect or see abuse happening, you can call the child abuse reporting hotline, and people can get the help they need. Here in Utah, it's about helping parents and helping families build strong families so that Utah's children can be raised in strong family units, and those strong family units can prevent child abuse.
Sarah, we also have a bouquet of pinwheels sitting on our desk, also from you. Tell us the significance of the pinwheels. Is that just basically the same type of thing as the blue, just to bring awareness? Why the pinwheel?
Yeah, the pinwheel is a symbol of safe and healthy childhoods. It's whimsical. Anyone who picks up a pinwheel automatically blows on it, right? We are working to build safe childhoods, and that's the symbol of it. And so as you drive around the state or look around in your city or community, you might see pinwheels. There's a lot of pinwheel gardens that are going out, especially in coordination with a number of cities and counties that are proclaiming April to be Child Abuse Prevention Month in their community, again, to bring awareness that Utah, we need more education and more prevention to make Utah a safe place for our children.
You know, Sarah, a lot of us, both Holly and I, and probably you, have raised children, have had moments where a child gets on your nerves, let's be honest about it, and that's when a lot of this occurs. Not necessarily that parents are bad or try to be bad, but they get to a point where they just don't react appropriately. Can you tell us what's available to parents just to understand and to appreciate when they get to those moments, how to react?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because the number one cause of child abuse is family stressors. And I think if you know that, that is the first step. And especially, I know with your show and who listens to your show, I reach out to all the community members and elected officials to know that when they are passing legislation, when they are creating systems that strengthen families, that help families be able to provide for their basic needs, that is a direct way on how to prevent child abuse. But back to your question, if a parent is stressed out and they find themselves acting out in abuse towards their children, they need to reach out for help, whether that's their spouse, a sister, a community member. Social connections are a protective factor. If you feel like you have some chronic issues with managing conflict or managing your stress, you can go to our website and look for resources there. But yes, we don't think parents want to love and care for their children. And no one's perfect. No one is perfect. And again, how many of us have been trained on how to prevent child abuse? Well, so educate yourself and access resources, and that's my advice for someone in that situation.
Can you give us just a couple of simple ideas on how people, maybe not specific to their own children, but in the community, how can people help prevent child abuse? Simple ways.
You know what? One of the best things to do is knowing how to have a healthy relationship, modeling healthy relationships to the children in your life. And again, social connections are a protective factor. And so taking interest in families that are around you and just watching out for people, watching out for your neighbor. Yeah, that's how I would say that as far as the community is concerned. If we all got educated on how to prevent child abuse, all of the adults in our community can form a protective boundary for each of the children that live here. And so think about what spaces you are in charge of, whether that's your home, if you're a coach, the field, or the court. If you're a teacher, it would be your classroom. If you are a member of the clergy, it would be your church community. Find ways to put a protective boundary around those spaces so that the children who are coming into those spaces are going to be able to be safe and nurtured as they grow and learn and worship.
Sarah, we've got about 30 seconds, but how can our listeners learn more about Prevent Child Abuse Utah?
Please go to our website. It's pcautah.org. We are on social media. Please go to our Instagram. It's, again, PCAUTAH on Instagram. snap a pic. If you tag us, we will repost your story to amplify your voice. And thanks again for wearing blue. And I look forward to seeing your picture, Greg and Holly.
You'll see it. Thanks, Sarah. When we come back, the Moonjoy mission is set to splash down later today, and some Utahns are really excited about it. We'll talk about what that means when we come back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour. We're learning new details about the investigation into Tyler Robinson, the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University last September. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details about newly unsealed search warrants.
The big thing we found in these warrants is the text of a letter investigators say Robinson left for his romantic partner and roommate before he allegedly left for UVU. According to the documents obtained by KSL, a portion of that letter reads, quote, "I am likely dead or facing a lengthy prison sentence. I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I took it," end quote. The letter goes on to say, quote, "I wish we could have lived in a world where this did not feel necessary."
Robinson has been charged with capital murder. He'll be back in court in 1 week. Security spending for congressional and presidential campaigns has increased by about 5 times in the past decade. And reports say the killing of Charlie Kirk and other recent incidents of political violence have only seen that number rise. According to the Public Service Alliance, federal political committees spent more than $40 million on security expenses during the 2023-24 campaign cycle. They say one of the sharpest rises has been in cybersecurity spending, which went from around $50,000 in 2015 to nearly $1 million in 2023. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: airfare is set to spike due to the rising price of jet fuel just ahead of the summer holidays.
Domestic summer airfares are up as much as 20%, according to travel company Going. Airlines are raising fares as the price of jet fuel has skyrocketed due to the conflict in the Middle East. Carriers are also hiking bag fees, cutting capacity, and adding fuel surcharges to mitigate those costs. Clara McMichael, ABC News.
Your money at this moment. The Dow is down this morning, down 245. That's 0.5%. We're at 47,941. Coming up, we've got rain coming later in the weekend into next week. We'll check KSL weather next. KSL News Time, 10:02. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Is your financial advisor managing your risk or just a spreadsheet? Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. Many financial advisors rely on target date funds, which are one-size-fits-all portfolios that don't know your name, your family, or your goals. And that passive management can leave you dangerously exposed. At Trajan, we look at the whole picture, not just the stocks everyone else buys, but the private market opportunities most advisors ignore. And as fiduciaries, we build a strategy around you, coordinating your investments, tax strategy, and estate into one cohesive plan. Your financial life deserves more than just a generic portfolio. Real planning isn't a stack of statements. It's the confidence of knowing where your income will come from for the next 30 years. Good enough isn't good enough for your family. It's time for a change. Schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Call Trajan today at 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Private equity investments require accreditation. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
Step back in time and commemorate the legacy of the world's most famous ship. Join Titanic, the exhibition, for an exclusive anniversary high tea on Monday, April 13th at 6 p.m. Savor elegant treats and immersive stories while surrounded by history. Located at the Shops at Southtown in Sandy. Don't miss out. The exhibition leaves Utah for good on April 19th. Reserve your high tea and tickets now at thetitanicexhibition.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU, love where you bank. And here's Cormac Bone.
No delays on I-15, both directions between Santa Quin and Brigham City, but we do have delays on Mountain View corridor, especially northbound approaching 4100 South. I'm watching that left lane stop on again, off again, so it must be a stoplight creating that back up there. And of course in Lehigh we've got eastbound Pioneer Crossing delays in that construction zone where you usually see them. It starts at 7800 West and reaches over to I-15. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
It'll be warm today, 76 degrees with clouds. Tomorrow, only 70 with a chance of rain late in the day. Chance of rain on Sunday and a good chance of rain on Monday. Monday's high, only 55. Right now, it's 64 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Fly me to the moon.
Well, we did fly to the moon, and we did play Among the Stars, but now we're on our way back. And in fact, after 10 days in space, Artemis 2 crew is set to splash down on Earth later this evening, I think, around 6 o'clock, I think.
Utah time, yeah. So we have with us on the line Phil Condor. He's president of the Salt Lake Astronomical Association. And Phil and I go way back. Hi, Phil.
Hi, Holly. How are you?
I'm good. What can we expect today?
Oh, I think it's going to be very exciting. So as they come back, things will start happening about 5:30 our time. So the capsule will disengage from the support module shortly after 5:30, and then they'll run some burns to get themselves in position. And then shortly after 5:50, those 4 astronauts are going to be in probably for the ride of their life, including when they even took off, because this is going to be insane. They're going to be traveling about 25,000 miles an hour. They're going to hit the atmosphere going that fast. And when you hit the atmosphere, you're going to start slowing down quickly. And that will generate a lot of heat. The shield will heat up to about 5,000 degrees. It's about half the temperature of the surface of the sun. They'll still be going several thousand miles an hour when a series of parachutes will deploy. And there's 11 parachutes in total. By the time the final ones deploy, they'll be going about 20 miles an hour all and have a nice gentle splashdown off the coast of California. And that all happens in about 15 minutes, that whole slowdown. So it's going to be one wild ride for them.
Oh, gosh, I can't even imagine.
What's the vehicle like that they're going to be riding in? Is it just a small little capsule at that point?
Yes, yeah. So they want to bring back as small a piece of equipment as possible, because the larger it is, the more heat it would generate as it's coming through the atmosphere. So they'll jettison what they can before they enter. And so they're just in the small capsule coming back, and that's the ride they're on.
So, Phil, is there a period of time where they will not have any communication with people here on Earth?
You know, I believe that's the case. It certainly was in Apollo 13. We all watched that movie, and right. I believe it's the same, physics going on where the heat is blocking the signal. So I believe there will be a blackout period, similar to when they went around the moon, and they couldn't get a signal from Earth due to line of sight.
How would you characterize the success of this mission so far, Phil? I mean, it's Artemis 2. There's going to be a third and then a fourth before they land on the moon. But in terms of what this mission was intended to accomplish, and I know they haven't brought the astronauts home yet safely, but would you characterize it as a success so far? Do you think the folks at NASA are quite happy?
Oh, I think they've hit a grand slam home run with this. I mean, on everything from the launch to the astronauts they sent up are so clearly qualified, prepared, good. They've just performed outstandingly in what they've been doing. The images that we've received back are going to be iconic for generations. This has just been an amazing feat of a massive amount of teamwork. But we see the 4 astronauts, but there's, so many people behind the scenes, and it's just been an amazing effort. And you speak of the future Artemis trips, this is just one step in it. So Artemis 1 was just a test, do they have the mechanics right? This was to test that they have the life support right. On future missions, like you said, we'll land on the moon, and not just like we did before, but go there to stay, which is so different than what we've done anything in the past. This is monumental.
So, Phil, I saw a post on social media earlier today saying never feel like it's too late, right? And they pointed out that the crew has a 47-year-old, 49-year-old, and 2 50-year-olds. Now, I will point out that they didn't just start that career, right? I mean, they've been working on this for a long time. But they're not 20-somethings either, and I think that's really amazing. And I wanted to ask you about watch parties tonight. Where can people go if they want to go join other people and not just watch on television somewhere?
Yeah, I understand Clark Planetarium is having a very large watch party, and if you can go to that, I think I would recommend that. They've got nice facilities, and you'll be surrounded by people that are knowledgeable and enjoy this. That'll be a great place.
Phil, you mentioned images, and of course our astronauts were able to get views and photographs and a vantage point that others hadn't received before. Was there anything, and I know it's still early, but they're not back yet, that we saw in these images that may have surprised or maybe even pleased people that we didn't expect?
I'm sure those who do this as their life's work are just sifting through massive amounts of information and data. For me, that iconic picture of the Earth rising, against the moon, I think rivals the Earthrise shot from the Apollo missions. It's stunning and beautiful, and it just shows us kind of what our Earth is like. How connected we are here on Earth when you look at it through the big picture. I just think when we get that perspective, hopefully we here on Earth can bring how we're living our lives better, that we're just out here trying to all get along together on the same Earth. And we're just kind of stuck here other than the 4 people that got to go out to the moon. And, let's figure it out.
Phil, what are you looking forward to tonight, personally?
Well, it's firing all sorts of neurons in my brain because I was pretty young when the Apollo missions came back. Some of my earliest memories of watching a black and white television were seeing those parachutes pop out as the capsule came down. But we haven't really been there since then. So it's almost like just pulling me back to those days when, I was going to be an astronaut and everybody else in the neighborhood was going to be an astronaut. We all dressed up as astronauts for Halloween. And that just awe and wonder, and that we can do this as humans. We have the understanding with the math and the physics and the science to be able to successfully put people out on the moon. That's just mind-blowing.
We've got about a minute left or less, but is this a time, Phil, when this reentry starts, when people like you who are so engaged in this sort of hold your breath? Is there a level of danger here that we haven't seen for the last 10 days?
That's a great question. We almost get immune to the success of such things, but man, there is a lot of danger in this. But like I said, if we've done the math right, if we've done the science right, which I believe they have, this should go off flawlessly. And that's what I would expect to see. But as we've seen in history, sometimes things go wrong, but I don't anticipate that today.
All right. Thanks so much. That was Phil Condor, president of the Salt Lake Astronomical Association. And if you are tuning in to Jeff Kaplan's afternoon news, he will have live coverage of the splashdown this evening. They anticipate it'll be around 6 o'clock our time, but as Phil indicated, starting somewhere close to 5:30, they'll start to have all the things happen.
I'm going back to the earth.
So for all of us here on Earth and in Utah, there's a homegrown tulip festival in Spanish Fork where you can pick your own tulips. We're going to speak with the owner after the break. Stay with us.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Oil isn't the only resource hit hard by global events. American farmers are sounding the alarm by fertilizer prices at planting season. Will this disrupt our food supply? Raising prices cause shortages? I'm not waiting to find out, and neither should you. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com, get a 3-month emergency food supply. They'll include $200 worth of extra survival protein absolutely free. After serving more than 3 million American families since 2008, you can trust MyPatriotSupply.com. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com.
Today from NPS in Salt Lake City. And wow, it is hopping in here, Igor. Those doors open, the people flood in, everybody knows where they want to go. But guess what? Even if you don't know where you want to go, you're going to find something.
It is a very special day to be here every day at the NPS store, saving.
Well, here's some, we got to make sure people know about the deals, because I think that some of the people already know how great NPS is. So we just got to tell them, what is the reason you got to come in today?
Okay, today we have, because of the movie show, we have, well, first of all, we have free donuts if you spend $50.
I like that. Donut Kebab is parked out front here. We're at the Salt Lake location. They were with us in Layton a couple of weeks ago. $50 spent, and hey, you're like, oh, I can do that. Yes, you can, but you're going to get way more than you think for your $50.
Yes, and these donuts, they make them fresh in front of you.
Yes. All right. And now, last week you guys did Bunny Bucks, where if you bought a certain amount, you were given Bunny Bucks, which is basically cash to come back and spend this week.
Exactly.
When does that run out? When do they have to spend those Bunny Bucks?
By tomorrow.
By tomorrow. Okay.
Yes.
So come in today and spend your Bunny Bucks, or tomorrow, but they won't be good after that.
They will not be good. So if you have $60, $70, $100 worth of Bunny Bucks, please come today or tomorrow.
You know, we had gorgeous weather last weekend. And when I walked in today, it looked like the garden center was getting pretty busy out there.
We already opened the garden. People absolutely love it. We have trees, we have shrubs, we have beautiful flowers, we have vegetables, tomatoes, everything that you want at great prices.
What about bananas? Just kidding. You can't grow bananas here in Utah. Now, the other favorite thing, and this is something you guys have added within the last year, is the tent that's outside.
Yes. It's going to open on Monday.
Okay. Now, the tent is like even better deals. It's kind of like that portion at the industrial side towards the back, but you guys have expanded it out into like a whole tent.
People absolutely love it. And we're going to be opening on Monday for extra savings on clothing, books, etc.
So many good things at NPS. They've got locations in Layton, Orem, and Salt Lake. We're at the Salt Lake store, 1600 South Empire Road, but Davis County's got their own deals going on, 1150 North Main Street in Layton, and in Orem at 475 North State. NPS.
Every day here in Utah, people turn to KSL News Radio for one simple reason: trust. Trust for our reporters, hosts, our coverage, and trust in the businesses heard right here. I've met so many of our listeners over the years, and they'll tell you KSL is part of their daily routine, in the car, at work, at home. And when they hear your business here, it carries the weight of that trust. It isn't just another ad. It's a recommendation coming from a reliable source. When you advertise on KSL News Radio, you reach a loyal, highly engaged audience who listens intentionally. They show up for breaking news, accurate information, and meaningful conversations. And because of that connection, they respond. And when you pair our on-air credibility with digital tools like display advertising, social media, streaming audio, search, geo-targeting, and retargeting, you get a full funnel strategy that works and reaches the right people at the right time. Get marketing that truly moves the needle. Partner with the voice Utah trusts. KSL. Learn more at kslnewsradio.com/advertise.
Right now, water heaters are on sale at Any Hour Services. Schedule a free estimate today to see how much you'll save. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a gripping new podcast about a serial killer you've probably never heard of, Warren Forrest.
If he had dumped two, you would have thought maybe there's another one.
But now a witness, identified in the podcast, could lead investigators to Jamie Grissom. Binge Stolen Voices of Dole Valley wherever you get your podcasts and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the latest breaking news in the case.
And expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Okay, a little Tiny Tim goes a long way, but this is tiptoe. Okay. Well, there's a tulip festival this weekend in Spanish Fork where you can actually wander through rainbow rows of tulips and pick your own to take home.
Sounds... Okay, we're done. He's done. Look, when I think about wandering through tulips, I do think about Oz, like the movies that we've seen, Wicked. I also think about the Netherlands. And you have to know there's more than one tulip festival in Utah, and this one in Spanish Fork is a you-pick tulip farm with 250,000 blooms to choose from. And we have with us on the line Kara Lewis. I'm so sorry. Kara Lewis, the owner of the Utah Tulip Festival in Spanish Fork. Thanks for joining us, Kara.
Thanks for having me.
I have to give you an unsolicited shout out because my daughter went there and was able to bring home blooms from, I think, like a week ago. And they still look amazing. They're sitting on our kitchen counter,
great.
And they are just fantastic. So shout out to you.
Oh, well, thank you.
What can you tell our listeners about your event?
Well, this is our first year doing this. It's something we've been kind of planning for the past 3 years, and we just decided now was a great time to do it. So, yeah, like you said, we've planted 250,000 tulips, 70 different varieties. And the great thing about this is you get to come, and instead of just looking, you get to pick them and take them home. I think so many of us as kids, you go out and your mom or your grandma's like, don't pick the flowers. But we're encouraging you to come. You get to look at all of them, choose from 5 acres of flowers, and pick your very favorites and take them home with you.
Kara, I know in our neighborhood, tulips came out a little earlier than usual. Did you guys notice that this year with the particularly warm winter?
Yeah, and obviously it's our first year, so we weren't exactly sure what to expect. And so it was a little difficult, trying to plan an event, not knowing when it was going to be starting. But people were really excited and anticipating it and just kind of following along our social media. And once we were ready, we just said, okay, tickets are open, and here we are. From what we understand, we're about a week or two earlier than normal bloom. But yeah, we've had a little bit of wild weather. We had the really warm spring, and then last week we actually had the really cold temperatures going into the 20s, where we were a little bit worried about what it would do to the flowers. But they made it through just beautifully, and the field is absolutely gorgeous.
I have to ask you this question. If people can come and pick, how long do you expect that you will have blooms?
Well, right now, the fact that we planted 250,000 tulips, I think we're going to have blooms for a while. So we're hoping to be open at least through May 2nd. Obviously, tulips are temperamental, so it will just depend on the weather. If we get up into the upper 80s like we did before, they could go a lot faster. But as of right now, I'd say the next, 2 weeks or so are a really prime bloom. So if you want tulips, it's the best time to come.
Hey, Kara, I'm generally familiar with Spanish Fork and that area, but where can our listeners find out exactly where it is, or how they can find it?
Yeah, so all of our information is on our website at UtahTulipFestival.com. If you were to get off at Spanish Fork Main Street, it's very easy to find. Just go to 100 South and then take a right and just follow that road about 1.5 miles, and you'll run right into us.
I'm wondering if you can talk to us about agritourism, right? So that's the idea, I think, as I understand it, where people like yourself who may have a farm of some sort, you also open it up to people who can come and, in this case, pick tulips, but there's other things as well. Do you can you just talk to us about maybe why agritourism, what got you deciding to go this direction?
Yeah, of course. Our family's actually been farming in the Spanish Fork area for over 150 years. So this is a 7-generation farm. About 9 years ago, we opened Glen Ray's Corn Maze and Pumpkin Patch just south of here on another acreage of our farm. And we did that as just a way to supplement some of the farm income. Farming right now, especially on some of the smaller farms, it's really difficult to kind of turn a profit. The cost of fertilizer is absolutely through the roof. The cost of seeds and just everything right now it's really difficult to make a profit in farming, but we want to be able to keep our farm and not have to turn it over to development. And I think that's important to the community as well, to have a place where you can take your family and bring them out, see the farmers that are still here in the community that are producing food for our families. And so agritourism is a way that a lot of farmers and ranchers are turning to be able to kind of supplement the things that they are still doing in the traditional farming sense.
It's kind of hard, I think, for some people, including myself, to picture a tulip farm. I mean, when our listeners, or maybe myself, get out there, what will we see? What's it like?
Yeah, so when you come, we actually have people parking in an alfalfa field. You cross the irrigation ditch. We are truly a working farm. We have a bridge over the irrigation ditch, and then you walk in, and it just opens up this expanse of 5 acres of just color. We've just got planted in different rows. You can walk between the rows, and then as you walk through, you just can choose the different. We give you a bucket and some scissors, actually, if you decide that you want to pick some and take them home. And then you just wander and you see what catches your eye and find those perfect tulips. And then you can just get down right next to the ground. You go get down in the dirt and cut those tulips, and we will help you bag them up and take them home with you.
Can you talk to our listeners about the cost to come and do this?
Yeah, so we have different pricing for weekdays versus weekend. If you purchase the tickets online, it's a little discounted. So it's just $13.95 for weekdays, $17.95 on weekends. And then if you were to purchase a tulip bundle online, it's $15 for 10 tulips, and then they're $2 a piece at the gate. And then you can, like I said, just wander through and find the perfect ones. We also have baby animals out at the farm, and also just a few little activities for kids that they can learn about tulips, where they came from, some fun facts about tulips. Because we always want everything at the farm to be educational for our guests that come out. And that's been one thing that's really been fun about bringing people out. We found that people nowadays are about 3 to 4 generations removed from the farm, where in the past, people typically had a grandpa or an uncle or someone that they could go and visit a farm more frequently, and people just don't have that nowadays. So everything we do in our agritourism pursuits is kind of geared around an educational thing as well as entertainment.
So, Kara, I pulled up your website, and I am looking at Dog Day. And it is so cute. You've got a picture of a little puppy in the tulips. And I just have to tell you, as a fun fact, today is National Hug Your Dog Day. So
how fun.
Yeah, tell our listeners what people can do on Dog Day, which is Tuesday, April 21st.
Yes, people are very excited about this because that is a question we get all the time. Can we bring our dogs to the farm? And so we decided we need to have a designated dog day. So that will be April 21st. We have several vendors that are going to be coming out that are geared directly towards dogs. We're actually going to be doing a dog costume contest that we'll be having judged. We have some prizes for that are being sponsored by different companies within the community. So it'll just be a really fun time to bring your puppy, bring your dog out, take some of the great pictures. We have lots of different photo spots here at the farm that we've set up. And we think it'll be a really just exciting, fun day for those that want to bring their dogs out.
Okay, I don't pretend to be a horticulturalist, but are there different varieties and colors of tulips at the farm?
Yes, we planted 70 different varieties.
Oh, good.
Some of the most favorites are the double tulips. They actually have twice as many petals as, say, a regular tulip. So those have been really fun. There's also one that's called a parrot tulip. They are known for being like kind of flamboyant colors, and yeah. It's fun to see that there's more than just kind of the regular typical tulip that most people think of.
It really is so fun. I wonder, just in our last minute or so, can you tell us what are some of the mental health benefits for being outside in nature?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. So I'm actually a school counselor at Salem Hills High School and also a mental health counselor as well. And one thing that I see, especially this time of year, is, we've been through the winter, we've been through the cold, and it's almost like we can just breathe this sigh of relief now. The sun is out, it's warm, and everyone can just get outside and start to almost heal from that kind of the dark and gloomy that we've seen. And what I find on the farm is really just being out in nature, even just sitting and watching some baby lambs play or holding a baby bunny. Like, it's very therapeutic. Getting your hands down in the dirt and smelling some flowers. Like, I don't think we realize just how dark and gloomy winter is sometimes. And being out on the farm for me personally has always been really healing. Like, it's something that throughout my life and just through different traumas, I've been able to go and sit in the barn or be by the animals. I've noticed in myself it's been therapeutic. So that's something that when we've decided we wanted to open the farm to the public, I just knew that that's one reason that I wanted to do that, because I've noticed the health benefits for myself. And so, just being able to come sit in the sunshine and just enjoy, just take a deep breath and just let whatever you're dealing with, just some of those negative news stories and things we're dealing with right now as well, just taking a breath and putting that behind for a minute.
Thank you so much. That was Kara Lewis, owner of the Tulip Festival this weekend in Spanish Fork. We'll be right back and talk hockey.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, Washington County needs more housing. It's the third highest county in the state for housing demand, behind Salt Lake and Utah counties. The Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute predicts 63,000 new residents will move into that area in the next 7 years. Emily Merkley with the Washington County Board of Realtors says tourism isn't the main reason for the influx of people.
Healthcare. There's manufacturing jobs coming into the area, administrative, construction. Washington County is no longer primarily driven by tourism.
Merkley says cities need to loosen building restrictions that lead to so-called mega mansions and instead start encouraging smaller homes on smaller lots. She says local buyers are having a tough time competing against out-of-state buyers who can pay with cash. A Utah airport is growing. The South Valley Regional Airport in West Jordan is getting a major makeover thanks to SkyShare. The company will be the new fixed base operator, running private, business, and all other aviation operations. They also plan to build 50 new T-hangars and a large community box hangar. That should be done sometime this year, with an opening planned for the fall. Our top national story this hour, another ticketing platform is in the spotlight as jury deliberations get underway in Ticketmaster's antitrust trial.
StubHub will now have to pay $10 million in refunds after settling a case with the FTC. That case had alleged the ticket seller advertised deceptive prices for tickets on its platform, failing to disclose mandatory fees before checkout. The FTC says that's a violation of its new fees rule, which took effect last year. StubHub tells ABC News, while we strongly disagree with the FTC's view of the case, we are addressing their concerns by refunding a portion of those buyers' fees. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is off 254 at this hour. That's 0.5%. We're at 47,930. Coming up, we've got rain on the way later in the weekend. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio. It's the Movie Show, broadcasting live from NPS. We're at the Salt Lake location today at 1600 South Empire Road. We've got Stephen with us because Stephen is, even though he works at NPS, he's like the expert shopper. He feels almost in his bones like it's his mission to find you a way to get a bunch of meals for literally the least amount of money possible to pay for it. And, Stephen, we always say when we get here, we're like, okay, Stephen, what deals you got for us today? So what have you discovered today?
I've got a special cookie that everybody knows about.
Oh, I saw that.
That is just delicious.
But this is like the $6 size, like the king-size package of these particular chocolate chip cookies.
That's right.
And where they're normally $6 in the grocery store, what do you guys have them for today?
I have them special for $2.99.
I'm telling you.
It's a family pack, too.
If you do birthday parties, Val, or if you need snacks, or if you have a kid in college,
I've got a baby shower coming up, and he keeps bringing sweets over. So if you have that sweet tooth, or like you said, a birthday, some kind of celebration, this is where you need to be today.
You got to stock up on this stuff here. Every time I'm here, I buy more of those golden soft versions of a very famous sandwich cookie because they taste like Twinkies, and I like them.
Delicious.
I mean, my kids like them. Yeah, that's who likes them.
Oh, yeah, they're for them.
But another thing I've got right now, and this is while supplies last, this is one you're going to want to jump on if you can. A flat of strawberries. We're talking 8 pounds of strawberries for how much per flat?
$2.99.
$3 for 8 pounds of strawberries.
I need to do that.
Okay, we're making some jam at our house in the next week with the strawberries that we're getting here.
But Andy, that's a limited supply.
That's what I'm saying. You got to come get it. Here's the thing. As Igor always says, and he's walking around, he doesn't have the headset on right now. If you snooze at NPS,
you lose.
You lose. And in this case, you're going to lose out on some great deals. I see you guys still have a deal on the pretzels, the name brand pretzels, but the 32 count box, $10.
Are you out already?
I actually stocked up.
Okay.
So I'm still good for now, but it is an amazing. I can never come into NPS and walk out without buying something. Even when I'm like, I'm not going to buy anything this time. We're just going to do the show, and I'm going to go home. But you guys always have a deal, and I can't resist.
That's right. And I've got it here.
Steven, you guys are the only recession-proof store that I'm aware of.
We stretch your dollar.
Exactly. 4 locations, 2 here in Salt Lake at 1600 South Empire Road, 1150 North Main Street in Layton, and in Utah County in Orem at 475 North State.
For over 22 years, speaking on business on KSL News Radio has been a beloved tradition, celebrating our heroic business leaders and Utah consumers who have helped build one of the strongest state economies in the nation. Now, under the stewardship of the Salt Lake Chamber and hosted by Chamber President and CEO Derek Miller, the program continues to shine a spotlight on those who make Utah's business environment dynamic and thriving. With his expertise and passion, Derek brings the stories of our business community to life. As part of the Salt Lake Chamber, Speaking on Business is proud to continue its legacy of highlighting inspiring stories, trends, and special guests. Support Utah businesses now and be part of Utah's thriving economy. More information can be found at slchamber.com. That's slchamber.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. And back to you, Cormac.
Pretty calm and normal midday commute on this Friday, and we do have just the slightest bit of southbound I-15 slowing in the construction zone in Roy at 5600 South, but it's very light right there. Otherwise, I-15 looking really good all across the Wasatch Front, and it's delays in Lehigh due to construction, normal but heavy, eastbound Pioneer Crossing at 7800 West, and then reaching toward I-15. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today, warm 76 degrees. A little cooler tomorrow with a chance of rain late in the day. Then another chance of rain Sunday and a really good chance on Monday. So don't forget your umbrella on Monday. Right now it's 64 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
I have to say, we're getting ready to do a segment on hockey, and Holly says the only thing I know about hockey is they use a puck. So,
and they have ice.
And they have ice. We're in trouble here. But it is a bittersweet week for hockey fans in Utah because the Utah Mammoth hockey team has qualified for the playoffs for the first time since it came to Utah. And that there are only 16 teams that make the playoffs out of 32.
Aww.
And that's a big thing for Utah because they have a chance to win the Stanley Cup, which is the Super Bowl
I do know that's
of
a big
hockey.
thing.
Right.
Okay.
But sad news is the Utah Grizzlies hockey team, which has had a great run here in Utah for several years, they play out at the Event Center in West Valley City, are leaving us. They're going to New Jersey. They've been purchased and moved out there. And I was always concerned, Holly, about that we could have a big enough market here in Utah to support 2 professional hockey teams, and I was pleasantly surprised to learn that we did, and both of those venues are regularly sold out.
So I know on the playoffs, because I've been listening to our own news shows, that it's only taken 2 years for the Mammoth to get there. We do have more from KSL News Radio, Adam Small.
The Utah Mammoth are officially playoff bound for the first time since moving to Utah, and it only took them 2 seasons here to take that step. It's the franchise's first playoff berth since 2020 when they were still the Arizona Coyotes. Mammoth captain Clayton Keller was on that team, and he says it's been a while since they've tasted the playoffs.
You want to taste that and play in those meaningful games, and I think that's when you really learn the most about your team and yourself, and that's when you want to play the best, is when the stakes are the highest.
The Mammoths' first-round matchup still isn't set in stone yet, but if they hold on to the first wildcard spot, they'd likely play either Edmonton, Vegas, or Anaheim. The playoffs start in just over a week. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
That's a big thing for Utah. I mean, because we're a step closer, and a necessary step closer to getting the Stanley Cup. I mean, that would be a dream to think about a world champion team here in Utah in the realm of hockey, because we hadn't even talked about Stanley Cup and NHL,
I know, right?
That type of thing until recently. So it's been a lot of fun.
Well, I have to ask you this question. Are the Utah Grizzlies going to become the New Jersey Grizzlies?
They will become. Sorry, I don't know if you're talking to me or not.
Please.
We are. We have John
Smith.
Smith from the Arrow here joining us in studio. Tell us.
Yeah, they will become the New Jersey Steelheads.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, they've been acquired by a different city. They're off to a new home after Sunday, their last home game.
Well,
is that going to be good or bad for the Mammoth? I mean, you would think that there's so big of a fan base, and you've told us before, John, that the Grizzlies didn't have any problem filling their venue and keeping their fans.
No, I mean the attendance has waned over the years. You think about when 1995, when they first came to town, they were filling up a 17,000 seat venue. But over time, as the leagues shifted, as the team actually changed in 2005, a lot of people don't realize that the first Grizzlies that we had in the 1990s, they were off and they moved to Memphis.
Oh wow!
They became a different team.
Oh wow!
And then another team came to town from Milwaukee, and we put them in there under the same banner, the same name.
I had no idea.
kept everything the same. So it's a different team than we first got from Denver in 1995. But and when that happened, attendance started to fall off. It's a different skill level of player, a different different level of the minor leagues. So with that, attendance started to fall off a little bit. But even now, like you go in, there's still a good 6,000-7,000 people in that venue.
That's a lot. I want to ask you. You have some personal experience with the Grizzlies. What's that?
I was an honorary goalie.
Yay!
All right. That's great.
I played hockey through high school. I played rec league. I played very amateur. Amateur. Even calling me an amateur goalie would be a compliment. But through various radio promotions, they were like, "Hey, would you like to come be our emergency backup goalie?" And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be great." So I got to suit up and sit with the team and everything. And they're like, "No, just full disclosure, we're not going to let you play. But if there is an injury, you may have to go in there.
How about that?
You may have to
That's
go.
awesome.
And I'm like, okay, you will lose if that happens. But that is a thing in the in every league all the way up to the NHL. You have to have so many goalies on the bench. And,
wow.
With the minor leagues, occasionally players get called up or traded, and you go to town or the Grizzlies are at home, and they're like, hey, we don't have a backup goalie. We need somebody.
That's awesome.
Could be a team manager, could be a local radio DJ. You never knew.
You never know when you're going to suit up for the team. Well, so John, you won't remember this because you're too young, but I remembered watching hockey in the Salt Palace, and the Golden Eagles played. They were a minor league hockey franchise for somebody, but I just thought it was a cool venue. It was a beautiful place to watch. How has the Delta Center worked out in terms of NHL hockey?
I love that you think I'm too young to remember the Golden Eagles. Oh, that makes me I'm so flattered. Yeah, the Golden Eagles were the minor league affiliate for the Calgary Flames.
Oh, that's right.
And then later on, they became the affiliate for the Islanders.
Okay, oh, wow.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I remember going to the Eagles games back in the day. No helmets and watching Skitty in the goal and everything like that. But it's the venue has changed. The sport has changed considerably. It's a much more there's a lot more technology involved. There's a lot more finesse involved. It's not just the rough 'em up Broad Street hockey that we were seeing in the 70s and 80s.
We only have 30 seconds left, John, but tell us about the Mammoth going to playoffs.
So the Mammoth have clinched a playoff spot. I was at the game last night. It was so great to see. So you've got three more regular season games that you can get in. They just opened up playoff seats this morning. They're available now. They're up there, so get ready to just get your Christmas budget ready.
Okay. And their seating has yet to be determined by who they would play, or will they be seated by the fact that there's still a couple games left.
That is correct.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch.
So how can fans make the most of the games like this weekend? Is this the very end for the Grizzlies?
Yeah, we've got a Saturday game and we have a Sunday matinee game. I would say go and cheer loud. And, feed the bears just in case. Take a fish.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for joining us. That was John Smith from The Arrow and a hockey expert. Woohoo. When we come back, we're going to talk about the movie show. And there's at least one fun fact that Greg and I both want to share. So stay with us.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
The Movie Show broadcasting live from NPS in Salt Lake City, and I'm already excited to get my strawberries home, Igor, because getting strawberries, you should always go to NPS and just see, because first of all, even if you guys don't have strawberries on the deal like you do right now, you've already got them cheaper than at the grocery store.
Every single time we do, yes. And right now we have 8 pounds for $2.99.
$2.99 for 8 pounds. Yeah, we're making jam at the Farnsworth house. That's what we're going to do with that deal.
I'm stealing some of yours, by the way.
No.
Fine.
But I'll make you some jam, maybe.
Okay.
But here's the other. What other deals have we got going? First of all, we want to make sure everybody knows that today, if you come to NPS at the Salt Lake location, if you spend $50, you get a free basket of donuts from Donut Kebab.
That's correct. Yes.
We love those.
Yes. They make them fresh in front of you, so that's nothing can top that.
I had my first donut kebab 2 weeks ago, and it changed my life.
It's so good. And you're going to get almost like $100 worth of groceries or retail items for $50, and then you're going to get that free donut.
So you get two baskets.
So you just get all kinds of stuff. No, I'm saying you're going to get what would cost you $100 somewhere else for $50 here at NPS.
Yes.
And then you get a free basket of donuts.
That's correct. That's amazing. And if you have redeeming coupons from last week, then you can have, I've seen customers that spend $100 and they have $100 worth of coupons.
You guys do coupons too. Like, this is crazy.
Well, this is a special that we did last week.
We're talking about the Bunny Bucks?
The Bunny Bucks.
Oh. Okay, so last week people who spent a certain amount got Bunny Bucks to bring back and spend as cash here at the store. So there will be people that will walk out of here paying zero out of pocket for what they put in their cart. But if they spend $50 and they use the Bunny Bucks, they still get donuts.
That's correct.
You spoil us.
This is what NPS does. They stack deals on top of deals to where you can't believe that they're doing this. You just can't believe it.
Yeah, it's just amazing. Like Steven said, we want to stretch your dollar all the way.
And Amanda said she was walking through here on Wednesday. She just came and did some shopping and could not believe how busy it was. Right now, NPS has greater value than ever.
Yes, and as you saw this morning in the electronics department.
Yeah, people lined up, went straight to the electronics department. Apparently, there's a good deal on some stuff over there because there was like 20 people in line immediately.
Yes, we have amazing trading cards, and we have the famous Pokemon cards here.
What?
Amazing prices.
Yeah, so they got everything at NPS. It's a treasure hunt. And if you know what you're looking for, it just makes it go faster, but part of the fun is the hunt. 4 locations: Salt Lake, 1600 South Empire Road. The movie show will be here till 1. Layton at 1150 North Main Street, and in Orem, 475 North State.
Trying to make sense of the markets? Looking to diversify out of all the craziness? Thinking about tangible assets like precious metals? Listen to The Gold Show with Alan Johnson right here on KSL at 3 p.m. Sunday afternoons. Stay up to date on retirement trends, how the IRA rollover process works, and why investors are turning to physical gold. Alan is a national talk show host with decades of experience in the markets. Tune in for Alan's Insights and The Gold Show this Sunday afternoon at 3.
Who is Farm Bureau Financial Services? At our core, we're relationship builders. We're home and auto bundlers, life insurers, farm and ranch protectors, and retirement planners. We're neighbors, community members, and friends. We're the people you can count on now and for years to come. Find a Farm Bureau agent at fbfs.com/protect. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company.
There's danger out there. It lurks on highways and quiet neighborhood streets. It's more likely to kill you than a shark and more terrifying than the biggest snake. Distracted driving claims lives every day. Every notification, swipe, social post, video, or selfie while driving risks your life. So while you might think public speaking or the zombie apocalypse is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Inside Sources.
Well, it's that time of the show and that time of the week when we get to go to the big movie of the week, but we have a few things we want to talk about before we get there.
We do, and you brought this up, and you said, is this even real? And I'm like, absolutely it is. You said that you saw that the last time we were on the moon, and we didn't land on the moon this time with Artemis, but still, the last time we were on the moon, women couldn't even have credit cards in their own name, and you were correct.
Yeah, so when man last landed on the moon, a woman couldn't own a credit card, and today, a woman is not only piloting this ship, but if you look at the command post at NASA, there are a ton of women there that are part of the engineering and whatnot of the crew. So it's really an exciting time. And it's only been, 50-some years?
54, I think. Yeah, it was 1972, and women did not get the right to have credit cards in their own name across the country until 1976. So thank you for that.
It's hard to imagine that thought.
You know what's so weird and kind of disturbing is how many people are calling for the abolition of the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote in 1920. I'm like, you guys, come on, we're not going back to not having the right to vote, but nice try.
Yeah, silliness.
Okay, so we have Andy Farnsworth and Val Cameron to tell us about the big movie of the week. Hi, guys.
Hello. Do you like rom-coms?
I love them.
Well, that's what we've got this week, because, see, here's the thing. Super Mario Galaxy is going to smash the box office. I think it's broken a record every day of the week this week for the most on a Tuesday this year, the most on a Monday this year. And so I don't really feel like there's going to be a huge drop-off. And since I know you both already went and saw it last week, probably. No, we've got a brand new rom-com. This one's called You, Me, and Tuscany. And look, if you want something that's like, wow, I've never seen anything like this before, that's not this movie. But if you're somebody who like I took my niece to Chick-fil-A yesterday. What do you want? She gets mac and cheese.
What?
You could have all these different chicken sandwiches, and she wants mac and cheese. Because you know what? When you go for stuff and you're craving something, you go for the thing you like. You're not going to order, the weirdest thing on the menu. You're going to get the thing you like. And that's what this is. This is the thing you like. We don't get a lot of rom-coms in theaters anymore. And so when you get them, I say go see them. And one of the things I thought best about this is it's really clean. It's rated PG-13, but it only has a couple of swear words in it, although, ironically, one of the first words of the movie is the F word from Mia Vardalos. But then it's pretty clean after that, for the most part.
But you let us know. And how does it look Italy? It takes place in Italy.
Well, that's the other thing about rom-coms is the gorgeous, they don't shoot them in like backwoods Detroit or something like that. They shoot them in these gorgeous locations where the scenery is a character along with everything else. In this case, Halle Bailey, who was Ariel in the Disney live-action remake of Little Mermaid, she plays the main character. And then Regé-Jean Page, if you've watched, well, basically, I think it's only Bridgerton. I don't know what else he's been in that he's really associated with.
He's been in a few other things, but nobody cares because Bridgerton is the best.
So they're kind of the two main leads. She goes to Italy kind of on a whim. She kind of lets herself into a guy she met's villa that she knows is empty, but then when his family shows up, she accidentally convinces them that she's engaged to him, and so all of the hijinks and the wrong assumptions ensue. But you know what? It was pretty. The leads were pretty, and I really liked that except for a couple of cuss words, it was clean as a whistle.
What I think is funny is that you went to the rom-com, and I went to the fight movie. I went and saw Beast, and you went and saw this.
And I went and saw You, Me, and Tuscany. So that's our big movie. It's, how it's going to do box office-wise, I don't know. But It's exactly what you want in a rom-com. If you've seen a lot of them, I don't think you're going to see anything that you haven't seen before. But
rom-coms are very formulaic. It's one of the reasons
Yes.
we like them. Look, it reminds me of the movie you had us go see around Valentine's Day from Angel Studios. So I think I do want to go see You, Me, and Tuscany.
And, Halle Bailey looks more and more like Janet Jackson.
What?
In fact, I didn't put this together. I mean, I was watching the movie and I was like, man, she looks like a younger Janet Jackson, like late 80s Janet Jackson, but with modern hair as opposed to the 80s hair that Janet had. And then I rewatched the trailer and they're playing Escapade by Janet Jackson in the trailer.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, wow, that just cinches it.
Love it.
And plus, she's a good singer. She doesn't sing in this, but, well, I mean, at any rate. It's what you want. Is it high cinema? No, but it's exactly what you're looking for if you want to go see a rom-com.
Val, did you not see it?
I didn't get to see it, and I went to an MMA fighting movie and said,
We're
other
human.
big
Things come
movie,
up.
the other
lots
big
of big
movie.
movies.
But guess what? There is a lot of stuff coming out today. We have a movie. We got 2 movies that came out on streaming, and thankfully she watched the Shark movie, so I didn't have to. And then we've got the sequel to The Handmaid's Tale, the sequel series to that. There's a documentary about the successor to Warren Jeffs in the FLDS community that I got through one episode, and I was
I
like,
watched the whole thing. It was rough.
And this was one, Malcolm in the Middle. I loved that show in the early 2000s. There's a 4-episode reunion series that dropped today on Disney Plus. So we got a ton of stuff to tell you about on the movie show today. And then, of course, our question, and it's related to Yumi and Tuscany.
Hey, what is it?
What is a movie location that's so gorgeous it made you want to go visit it?
I have one. I keep going back to it. I have not been to New
If
Zealand.
you've only seen one movie in your life, and
I
it's
know.
Lord of the
I
Rings,
just
then
can't-
you've done well.
Look, I'm just telling you, we watch the trilogy every year. In fact, we watched the Hobbit trilogy, and then we watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the extended version over Thanksgiving week. So, but look, I love the visuals in that movie, that series of movies. And I have a brother who's been, and he's gone to the little Hobbitville and taken pictures and sent it. And then I had a friend who went this year, and she sent me pictures, and she's like, "Guess where I am?" Like, dang it.
So you would go there if you could?
Oh, absolutely, in a heartbeat. Yep.
So if you went to New Zealand, even if it was for business, you would go out of your way to go see the Shire?
Yes, I would. Yep.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay.
Val's got you, though. She did the thing that you're imagining. But, Greg, what do you got?
Okay, this is 100% your fault, Andy, because I don't see rom-coms. I refuse to see rom-coms, but I did, and I loved it.
Maddie, it's time that you accept it. She's the only woman I ever loved. But I can't start
Solo
over again.
Mio.
You have
I have to say, I watched that movie, and my wife and I watched it, and it was just, I loved it. But it
Let's
made
go to Italy.
I want to go to an Italian coffee shop and drink a cappuccino. I mean, I literally thought of myself sitting there and thinking, wouldn't that be the great? And you know what would be even better is if there was a bike race going on at the same time, the tour of Italy, and they all came running by. I just want to be on a sidewalk when something like that happens.
Just make sure you guard your wallet.
Yeah, tell
Yeah,
me.
right.
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
So Val actually did the thing.
Are you talking about?
I'm talking about-
New Zealand. Are you talking about the Jurassic Park thing?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I actually got married in Hawaii, and it may or may not have been Jurassic Park themed. My husband had no idea till we got there.
Oh, wow. I've been there. That is so fun. It's really gorgeous. Yeah.
It is.
What island is that on?
Well, so it takes place on a lot of different islands, but we went to Oahu, and then we went over to a few others. So, yeah. Kauai has that's where the waterfall is on Kauai.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
That one is very small island, so go there first.
Okay.
How about you, Andy?
Well, I haven't actually ever gone anywhere, but last year I saw Rental Family, and I've never seen a movie that made Japan look so gorgeous as this Brendan Fraser movie from last year.
It
where
was good. I saw that
you
one
saw
too.
that one?
Yeah.
And it was the way it was shot and the way it I mean, the scene where they're like in the jungle and those vines, with this like living veins of the island. And I thought, this makes me want to go visit Japan, watching that movie last year.
Where are you guys today? We saw you on video a minute ago.
We're at NPS in Salt Lake at 1600 South Empire Road with people like streaming past us constantly.
Yeah.
Look, we have to add in, CJ had a suggestion, so our producer.
Okay.
The tulips in Munchkinland, right? So she wants to go to Oz.
There's a big
she said.
tulip festival this weekend
Huge.
in Spanish Fork, so we thought we'd do an ode to tulips.
Wait, isn't Oz Australia? Technically?
I don't know. Well, yes, in today's world. But look, there's over 9 million tulips planted in the UK. But on my bucket list, I want to end up in the Netherlands for their tulip festival. They're just gorgeous. Those are gorgeous places.
Yeah, and here's a place I think we all want to go. Austria. Don't you think?
Yes.
How many people have twirled on that mountainside since the 1960s?
Exactly.
Look, not enough. The Alps are gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. I will tell you. I've been there. Love them.
Well, thank you guys. Whether you spend the weekend saying goodbye to the Utah Grizzlies or go to the Utah Tulip Festival in Spanish Fork, we hope you have a great weekend. And we are going to turn things over now to the KSL Movie Show. Stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Cameron Elliott. KSL's top story this hour, a SWAT team was called to a St. George home over a man accused of holding a woman at gunpoint. Police say a young girl called 911 around 10